Hi, Tom Cole, the coach for Buckeye Cable and BCSN, and welcome into another edition of Sports Flash. And it's not really another edition of Sports Flash. We've got a Lion great here with us, an incredible player, incredible talent, Herman Moore, and an awfully nice person, Herman. I've heard so many wonderful things about you as a person, and but I got to get to one before we get into the Lions. When you were at Virginia, this thing drove me wild, that you just kind of one day went out to the high bar jump and track and said, I'll help you out, and tell the folks the story.
Well, it's pretty funny because in high school, I couldn't get any playing time on the football field, so I decided to go out for track and field my junior year, and ultimately found out I was pretty good at the high jump and ended up doing very well, going over 7 feet in high school. And when I got to Virginia, again, didn't get a whole lot of playing time, but then things started turning around. But I did not want to do spring football at all. So I asked the coach.
I don't blame you on that either.
So I went over and I asked the coach. I said, hey, can I go out and do maybe track and field? And ended up doing really well, winning the ACC a few times in the high jump, and ultimately started getting points for the team. So the coach loved it. So the track coach and our head coach, George Welsh, they started to work closely together. And started realizing that we could help out one another. So
yes.
it was a good relationship.
Yeah. And Herman, when you came to the Lions, first round, draft choice, so much pressure comes with that. And you're such a great player, but the first year, was a little tough. And I was reading how Charlie Sanders, a great tight end for the Lions, incredible talent. And what did Coach Sanders do for you? Because you started to question yourself a little bit. Here you're this immense talent, and people put all those expectations on you, and then you start, maybe you question yourself a little bit. Tell what Charlie did for you.
Well, Charlie was instrumental, being that he was a tight ends coach, but he was a tremendous mentor. And he went out and really told me not to second-guess myself. And I came out of college being this number one receiver drafted overall, led the nation in receiving, and all these accolades on the collegiate rank. And then all of a sudden things seemed to fall apart when I got to the professional level. And he helped me reel it back in and remember what got me there. And that was just my just ability to go in there and just practice hard. And God bless him. I love him. And, unfortunately he passed.
Yes.
But I'll tell you what, he was a tremendous asset to my career.
Herman, to me, you were so far ahead of the curve as a receiver. Today, everybody's looking for you. They're looking for the big, strong, athletic, receiver that can go down the middle. It's a mismatch with any DB. Your ability to elevate and go up and get the ball at its highest point. I mean, you were way, way ahead of the curve. Did you have a sense of that when you were having these all-pro years with the Lions that, hey, I'm a little bit ahead of my time here?
I was, because when I came in, for those who don't remember the Detroit Lions, they were running the run and shoot when I first came in. And they had all these small receivers. Everyone was under like 5'10". Right. And I was this giant, and myself and Reggie Barrett were dubbed the Twin Towers because we were both 6'4" or taller. And that was kind of the new wave. You had the tallest guys were typically in the league. It was at the time it was Sterling Sharp, tremendous guy, Michael Irvin, Chris Carter, and Jerry Rice. And that was kind of you were just the anomaly. You were the big guy. And then all of a sudden these 6'4" guys come in and start dominating the game. The defensive backs are trying to catch up. But there were big safeties and all that. But it was a question mark of whether or not you could take big receivers like that. And we were considered what was called a tweener. And that was between a wide receiver and a tight end.
Yes.
And it was a matter of you gain weight, you go to being a tight end. If you could lose a little bit of weight, then maybe you could be an outside guy. And they saw we had athleticism, and it was really a game changer.
Yeah, it's an understatement with your athletic ability. And a quarterback, I know you played with a lot. Lions have always had Lions have always had a history.
I should challenge you to name all those 22 quarterbacks I played with. No,
22.
You guys don't have time to listen to all this.
Well, I know Eric Kramer, Andre Ware. I know some of the. Did you play with Mitchell?
And Mitchell, Chuck Long, Charles,
there you go.
Man, Stoney, Cage, Matt, London, Ty. We'll keep going over.
Well, Bobby Lane, and you're way too young for Bobby Lane, but he was the last line quarterback to win a world championship, and I think Bobby left Detroit in '57. So it's been a while. But you've been through so many, Herman. Was there one guy or two that in the huddle? Because to me, the quarterback in the huddle that's the gig. Right. When he says the play, a lot of guys say, "Well, we're going to go trips right, and maybe we'll get it." And then another guy comes in and, "Hey, Herman, get over the safety, I'm coming to you. Was there a quarterback that you said, man, I love playing with this guy?
It was a couple of them that were instrumental. Rodney Peete and Eric Kramer, definitely, because they were veteran guys, came in my rookie year, struggled, but they really got me going right before the playoff game win against the Dallas Cowboys in '91. That was my coming out party, and I credit those guys for sticking with me and helping me through it. And then Scott Mitchell was the guy who benefited from the maturity I had as a receiver at that point when he came in, and we developed such a rapport as a receiver and quarterback that it was nonverbal communication to make things happen. So I have to give credit to both of those guys, Mitchell more so because that was at the heart and soul of my career.
You know, Herman, you've always been such a class act, such a good person, a guy willing to give back. We have a network, and I was telling you before we started, a lot of young kids, so, you know, they know you. You know, you're a superstar. And what advice would you give a youngster trying to make it in sports? Because kids today I see it all the time. The minute they're not great at something, there's so much pressure to be great. The minute they're not great at it, well, maybe I should try something else. What advice would Herman Moore give a youngster, boy or girl, trying to make it in the sports world?
Well, basically, don't be afraid to continue to try different sports, but at the same time, make sure you give yourself an opportunity to succeed. There's no failure in trying. You have to go out and just give your best. If you give your best, that's all you can do. And if it's not for you, then it's not for you. But too often, things aren't going our way, and I'm that classic case. It took me all the way up to my high school year before I really came on and started to get any recognition, or I could have quit early, and I would have never been here to speak to you or be able to give this message. So every day and every way, you're getting better and better. That's what you have to go with.
Mr. Moore, it's an honor to have you here. Thank you so much for being with us, and also want to thank the great people at the Hollywood Casino, this fabulous place, bringing these Lion greats. It's going to be outstanding for our people here tonight. Thank you so much, Herman.
Thank you very much.
Tom Coley, coach for Buckeye Cable and BCSN.